Now, to get started with this challenge, I copied my template file and my challenge image out here to my desktop, and then renamed the template file by clicking on it, waiting a second, clicking again to highlight the text, and then just change the name to env432_u05. Then I clicked and dragged a box around both of those documents and double-clicked in order to open them in Photoshop. Then I zoomed into my image a little bit by pressing Command or Control plus a few times and spacebar dragged in order to reposition everything on my screen. Then I double-clicked on one of the Smart Object background images to drill into it, and then jumped over to my replacement challenge image. Now I saw that the image is on a background layer which is locked, so I clicked on the lock to unlock it and convert it into a normal layer. Then I held down the Option or Alt key on my keyboard and dragged that layer down to the New Layer icon. This opened up my duplicate layer window, and I renamed this layer as Unit 05. And for the destination, I could see that my Smart Object file tab is open here, and it's called coral.psb. So I clicked the drop-down and selected that for the document target and clicked OK. Then I clicked onto my Smart Object tab, and to save some space, I took the old Coral image and I dragged it into the trash and threw it away. Everything here is looking pretty good now, so I closed that tab and saved the change. Now when I went back over to my template, that new image has now been placed on all of my artboards. Now they all need to be adjusted, but I'll wait to do that until I get my text updated. So I started with the landscape text artboards, and I drilled into it by double-clicking on one of the icons in the Layers panel. Then I double-clicked on the T icon for the text layer to select all of the text, and I went through and made the changes here to the text. I changed Unit 03 to Unit 05, and then selected the title and changed that to Aquarium Maintenance. Now that's all looking pretty good, so I dragged a new selection over all of that text and copied it to my clipboard to save myself a little typing later. Then clicked onto my canvas to deselect, made one more check, then closed the tab and saved the changes, and that updated the text on each of my landscape artboards. Now I scrolled down in my Layers panel and double-clicked on one of the text layers for one of the portrait-oriented smart objects to drill into it. Then I double-clicked on the T icon in order to select all of that text, and rather than typing it, I just simply pasted the text that I already had copied to my clipboard. Now looking at the text, it's not wrapping properly, so I could either change the text size and leading or adjust the text box and canvas size. Either of these approaches would work. I decided to go with the changing of the text size approach. So I selected my title text, and then in the drop-down for the font size, I changed that to 36 points. Then I selected my Unit 05 text and changed that down to 30 points. Now the leading doesn't look quite right, so I opened up my character panel and once again selected all the text by double-clicking on the Layers T icon and then just changed the leading size down to 30 points. That tightened the text up and it's looking a lot better. Made one more check, clicked on the canvas to deselect, closed my character panel, closed the tab, and saved the changes. Now everything is up to date, so I just went through each artboard, selected the image and grabbed my Move tool by pressing the V key and clicked and dragged the image to reposition it a bit. Then clicked the text smart object and dragged it to reposition it, and then used my arrow keys to nudge the text by 1 pixel at a time to make fine adjustments. I just worked through each pasteboard like this, one by one, and for some, I selected the image layer and pressed Command or Control T to access the Quick Transform tools, and then Shift-drag the image to scale it, and then repositioned it a bit, and then hit Enter or Return to lock in the change. It took a few minutes to work through all the layer moves, but this is what I ultimately came up with. Then I renamed each of my artboards by double-clicking each one and changing the unit number from 3 to 5, then going to the next one and repeating that process over and over until I had worked through all of them. I made one more quick look over all of my banners and then saved my work by pressing Command or Control S, and then went up to the File menu and down to Generate and selected Image Assets. Then I minimized Photoshop, and here's my new ENV 432 Unit 05 Assets folder. I went inside of that, and there are all of my images compressed and ready to go into the various websites for my course. Great job.